Hi, my name is Jen Rulon, and you may know me as Coach Jen. After knocking out 15 Ironman triathlons, I am an everyday, healthy human just like you. In this podcast, we will discuss how to metamorphosize into an everyday, healthy human through healthy physical habits and mindsets, as well as authentic living. Let's transform together in this journey called life and become the best, everyday, healthy human ever. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Everyday Healthy Human podcast. I am your host, Jen Rulon, and some people may know me as Coach Jen on the gram. Well, today I have a very special friend, athlete, coach, just a phenomenal human being that I met in 2021. His name is Marco Amador, and I met him in, of course, Costa Rica. And it was in June of 2021. It was our friend Isaac that put together a yoga training or a yoga weekend, and it was absolutely magical. And I met Marco and so many other human beings down in Costa Rica that I thought to myself, how can I be more involved with these people down here? And Marco, welcome to the Everyday Healthy Human podcast.
Thank you very much. Flattered to be here, and yeah, I mean, it's been just 2 years,
right?
And so many changes in 2 years, right? So now you're living
so many changes.
Yeah.
I know so many, and I thought I was going to be in San Jose this week, but had to deal with some car issues, so that's okay. But Marco, can you tell everybody about who you are as an athlete, a coach, a human being, because you are pretty incredible.
Thank you. So, well, I'm a physical therapist. That's what I studied in college. So I studied physical therapy, but I also got really involved into yoga. So I studied yoga deeply for several years, traveled to India 4 times, studied there with with great yoga teachers, and then also with American teachers. And so I really was into yoga. And then I started to race triathlons at my 20s. So, there was a point where I was doing them so many stuff, physical therapy, yoga, and triathlons and stuff that I had no time. So I ended up, creating this system, training system, which is called ZenFit, where I mix functional training, yoga, animal flow, calisthenics in short programs, 40 minutes programs. So when I created this, it worked out so well for me that I started to share it with my clients. And eventually I created my own studio, and I had it for 10 years. And I'm still, coaching athletes, amateur and pro, under this system, but online now because, pandemic.
Yes. No, everybody's said to me, they're like, are you online? I'm like, I've been online since 2013, y'all. I figured it out way before 2020. And so when I see people transition like yourself from in person to online, it's very powerful because I know how much you can grow living in Costa Rica and working with athletes all around the world. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I remember when Isaac told me about you, and I was very oh my God, this guy's sort of like a badass.
Yeah, well, I grew up in the Caribbean coast, Costa Rica, and there was not a big, obviously at that time, a big triathlon scene. Actually, there was none. So what I did when I was a kid was running and swimming a little bit because I had some very, difficult respiratory issues when I was a kid. I spent a lot of time in the hospital actually because, I was born 7 months old. I mean, not at term.
You were premature.
Premature, yeah. So I was born premature, 7 months.
Wow.
And so because of that, I had really bad, respiratory issues. And the doctors told me that I was not going to be, the healthy kid and, the sporty one. And I wasn't actually. I was super ill all the time. I ran 100 meters and I was like, I was, not breathing well anymore. So when I was 9, my parents, they decided to put me into swimming lessons so I can, increase my respiratory capacity. And I started to swim, but I'm super competitive. So I started to race as well. And what happened, because being, like a weak kid, I started to race and I started to lose every single race. Every single race I was losing and losing, but not like, like fourth. I was the last one. And because of that, I decided, like I have to do something else. So I'm going to run as well. So I swam in the morning when I was a kid, like 10 years old. And then during the afternoons, I went running. And I started to do that for a while. And then when I was 12, I won like a national championship. But it took me 3 years. It took me 3 years, losing every single race. And then at 12, I had like my gold medal. So at that early age, I discovered that no matter what people tell you, like there's always an opportunity. There's always a chance if you're focused. And since that time on, I kept, like exercising and swimming and running and biking, but because I liked it, not because, I was not racing anything until college. When I got into college, then I was mountain biking every weekend, and I was running as well. I was swimming, started to surf a little bit. So once I had these two friends that told me, like what you're doing, what you're training is basically triathlon. You should try one. And I was like, man, I think that's not that's not for, like super athletes and, like,
Right.
so that's not for me. I just do it for fun. I did like really long rides and stuff, but I just did it for fun. And then they told me, like you like doing mountain biking. That's what you do it, because I was not doing road bike. And there's a triathlon called Xterra. That was like 2002, I think.
Okay.
And so they told me, there's a thing called Xterra, and they're beginning this year in Costa Rica. So you should try it out. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go. I'm just going to go have fun, like swim there in the ocean, enjoy, and, bikes. And because I love biking, I love running. So yeah, I will do it. And I did my first Xterra, and I saw these athletes, with their wetsuits and stuff, and I was just wearing, like regular, surfing
Swimsuit,
trunks.
yeah.
I was not, not ready for performance. But I did it. I did it with all I got, because I was used to, like giving it all because of my swimming background when I was a kid. So I did it, and I ended up like third in my age group. So I was like, whoa, I like this one. I like, like maybe this is for me. So I continued doing Xterra triathlon for a while, a couple of years. The thing is that then, I got married and I have like 3 kids, like super, one after the other.
Yeah.
And then I had to stop like for 2 years.
Sure.
And then I came back, but now, like with this technique, combining yoga, functional training, all that stuff, I was doing that. And when I came back, I did pretty well. And from there on, I can kind of discover the magic formula for me, and kept doing triathlons. I did 2 world championships, Pan American championships. And also I combined that with mountain biking. So
Okay.
I mountain biked a lot at that time. Did several races in Costa Rica, but also South Africa, Cape Epic, Mongolia Bike Challenge. And there was a moment where I was racing a lot, and then I kind of just, like without asking for it, started to get sponsors. So it was like very, very organic, like everything was organic. I was training by myself. I had no coach. I was my own coach. I was, doing yoga, functional training. I was combining stuff, and it kind of worked out. And so I was sponsored athlete for about 9 years. Yeah.
That's amazing. So I have to ask, are you going to come out of retirement for the Las Catalinas Xterra? Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw, actually, Las Catalinas race, they've been doing that one for perhaps, I don't know, 6 years or something like that.
Okay.
And now it's Xterra branded.
Xterra.
So now
Yep.
this year's Xterra. I did that one like 4 times.
Okay.
And I did well when I did it because it's my kind of terrain. It's pretty technical.
Is it? Okay.
The mountain bike is technical. The running is super technical.
Okay.
And it's a nice one. Yeah. I remember doing that one and enjoying it so much. Las Catalinas. Yeah. I actually won my age group every single time. Yeah.
Nice. So maybe, y'all, if you're interested in an Xterra triathlon in Costa Rica, there's Las Catalinas. You heard it here. It was just, I saw that yesterday. So I was like, oh, this is perfect because I'm interviewing Marco today. So I was like, oh, maybe he's going to come out of retirement. But anyways.
Nah, I don't know. I retired 3 years ago, and
right?
I really enjoyed retirement.
Oh my God, you and me both. People ask me, they're like, "Are you going to do it?" I'm like, "No, why would I do it? No, that's just like I'm in loving the fitness and the flow and the surfing and oh my gosh." Anyways, okay, so let's talk about your ZenFit and like, can you share a little bit? Because I don't want you to give away all your secrets, right? But can you give a little bit about like what it consists of? Is it strength training? Is it yoga? I know what you're talking about. Can you maybe explain to people about animal flow? Because I know what you're talking about.
So as I told you, I was really, really involved in yoga. And there was a moment in life where I co-owned a yoga studio. So I co-owned a yoga studio for 7 years.
Okay.
But while I was doing that, I was also starting to compete, to race triathlons and mountain bike. And so I had to share my time between yoga and, performance training. And I had I didn't have too much time. So what I did, I started to combine exercises that I took from calisthenics, functional training, and then also CrossFit, which was really new at the time in Costa Rica.
Yep.
I started to get, some of the best exercises and the ones that were, not so smart to do for me, in terms of performance or injury, wise. So I took away all the most, more probable to cause injury exercises and just got the best of the best because I had not much time. So I needed, to train in 40 minutes. And, for a competition, 40 minutes is obviously not enough. However, if you take the best of the best exercises and you try to combine not only the exercises, but also all, the fitness, most important, like pillars or components, which are strength, power, cardio, mobility, flexibility, coordination, and agility. So what I did is I just thought about all those pillars, and then I created my own program where I did the whole spectrum of fitness in one single workout, combining these exercises. And then while I was doing that, I opened a studio, a ZenFit studio, and when I opened that studio and I recruit some coaches, one of those coaches, he was certified in animal flow in the US. So he started to teach me about animal flow, and I was thrilled about all the beautiful and super complex movements. And then I just really got involved in animal flow and started to practice it and then eventually even teach it. And it's a very ancient, it's because animal flow right now is like kind of like blooming. However, all the animal movements is nothing new. All the animal movements as a way to train, like the in capoeira they have used it for
Oh yeah. Oh,
several
that's right.
years. Even the samurais, right? So they use a lot of animal movement to train, to fight, and so it's very. I think it's very like unique, but at the same time like very organic. It's moving organically, like flowing in the movement. So I just loved it, and then I started to use animal movements as well in my program, and it worked. So yeah, it works not only for strengthening but also for preventive injuries, because your joints are so mobile and lubricated that like you it's just smart. It's just smart.
Yeah.
Instead of like doing like really rigid movements with a machine, so you move more like organically. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember watching a video that you posted on your stories or something, and you were doing your single legged pistols, or you were doing something, and you made it look so easy. And I can do pistols on one side, but not on the other. And I'm like, maybe I should sign up for his Facebook group, because I need that flexibility in my hip for the pop up on my surfboard now,
Yeah.
like that's what I need. Cause I noticed like I was getting pictures of my surfboard and my pop up, and I tend to use like stand up, like a stiff, like a deadlift, but I'm like, no, I got to get into my squats, And so that's something I really need to work on. And it's great, because that's what I love about you, is that it's functional. You don't have to lift heavy shit, right? It's functional. You could do it at home on your patio. And that's what I love about the ZenFit.
Exactly. The idea is to, like we want to build, muscle mass, because muscle mass in terms of longevity is, like everything. So we want to build muscle mass, but, you're not going to lift a car outside, so you don't need to, you don't need to lift like things like extremely heavy to get that muscle mass, because, like doing that is you are more prone to injuries, but you are also, like ego lifting. So it's more like an ego thing.
100%.
And that like if you do the right training with the right amount of weight and with the right alignment, you're gonna get as much or even better results as lifting like super, like big loads of heavy weights. And it's not necessary. So what I do is I try to create my programs or my training programs like intelligently, in a way that you get lean, you get muscle mass, you get mobility, you get agility, because all that is super important for longevity. And right now my focus, my whole focus and my whole in my life, but also in my programs, is longevity. So longevity has to do a lot with muscle mass, mobility, and some other things, like really, like healthy relationships, healthy eating, and some other stuff. But I'm super focused now on longevity. Obviously, as I grow older, yeah, it makes sense also.
Yes, exactly. Well, and I tell people this all the time, that I feel that strength training is the fountain of youth, because once we start losing muscle mass, we're not going to be able to function as we get older. And I talk about this all the time. I have people talk about this, the importance of strength. And for your movement, it's like you said, it's not about maxing out on your squat or your deadlift or your push press. It's about trying to, pick your grandchildren off the ground, or whatever that might be, eventually when your babies have babies, but your babies are still babies. So we got time, but it's the longevity. I think that's genius on your part.
And all the recent studies about longevity they have this common factor, which is muscle mass. So so muscle mass is much more important than just having like a nice body. Muscle mass is important
Yes.
not only for the strength of your whole body, but also they have discovered that muscle mass has also to do with your endocrine system. So muscle is also involved with endocrine function. So so it's very important not only for men but also for women to
Women.
do strength
Yes.
training, and especially after 40s, because after 40s,
Yes.
actually after 30s we start to lose muscle, but especially after 40s we start to lose muscle mass like in a higher rate.
Yeah. After 60, we really start losing that muscle mass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and women after menopause even faster. So we all need, not only men, we all need, women as well, to focus on strength training after the 40s. And if you focus on strength training, you do not only can reduce how you diminish muscle mass, but you can gain muscle mass. And that's super important for aging, and to have like a better quality of life quality when you are at your 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever.
100%. And that's something, it's a podcast that I talked about, my aha moment of being done with Ironmans, because here I was already perimenopausal, and I knew that I'm like, I don't need to do swim, bike, run, repeat. I've done it all. And so I just wanted to focus on the strength, and I feel better. I'm happier. Like, I'm finding fitness through active movement, going surfing,
Yeah,
riding the beach cruiser, going for a walk, doing strength training on my patio. It's great,
exactly.
taking 15 minutes of stretching my back and then practicing 20 pop-ups, like on my
Yeah,
yoga mat. It's living versus trying to perform.
yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like natural for us, I think, because we already did it. We already based, we already performed. So now, like if I add all the years that I raced triathlons, off-road running, and mountain biking, so I raced for 19 years, basically nonstop. And so I'm not saying it's not good. I mean, I loved the process. I loved it so much. I was super into it, of course. But now I'm super happy that I'm doing different things. That I'm as you, like surfing, hiking, yoga, functional training, animal flow, whatever. Because I feel more like right now, even though I used to train a lot, right now I train a lot less, but I'm more connected with my body, with my mind,
Yes,
and like it just feels good. It feels
I
good,
agree.
and I feel younger than before.
Yes. Yep.
Because now my mobility is better. I have more mobility, I have more strength, and my kids, they are not like really babies anymore. I mean, my kids, I have 3 kids, and my baby is gonna be in high school next year. You know,
Oh my goodness. You brought up mindset. So, can you maybe share one or two thoughts about mindset and how your athletic mindset can apply to an everyday healthy human?
yeah, totally. I mean, and I discussed this with my kids because they are athletes as well. These kids, I mean, the oldest and the youngest, they play soccer competitively, and the second, he surfs. And I talk about that a lot with my kids because the mind goes first. So the first thing you have to train is your mind, and then the body will follow. Because if you do not train your mind, if you don't train, how to overcome, how to do whatever you have to do, and not wait to be, like I tell them always, do not wait to be in the mood for training, because sometimes, and a lot of times, you're not in the mood.
Oh,
So,
amen.
but you need is focus. You need focus, and also you need to not wait until you feel like it. Like
Right.
you just do it. And that's something that I learned and I applied to myself when I was a kid, trying to swim and trying to at least not finish last during the races.
Right.
And at that, I kept that with me. And then that, it was very useful when I was doing triathlons and afterwards during my life, because there have been many things that, like sometimes they bring you down. And you have all the the space and the possibility and to feel bad and to feel even devastated, but
Right.
then you stand up again, take out you just do this to you and just connect again with that inner power, that inner strength. And you say again, okay, so I'm here again, I'm doing it again, like this, like this Chinese proverb that fall 7 times, get up 8.
Right.
So I think that applies a lot to performance training, but also to life. And that mindset, for me, that's the most important asset of any athlete. The most important. You could be fast, you can have endurance, you can whatever. But if you do not have that mindset, you're done, because perhaps you're going to do good 1 year. But that, it's not the same to be a good athlete 1 year than to be a good athlete 20 years.
That's amazing. And I'm glad you're teaching the kids at such a young age, because I think that's so crucial, especially at that age of going into high school. And I can't imagine kids right now. And I mean, my niece is 15, so I see it, right? I see it. Where can my followers find you?
Well, I have a group in Facebook, which is a private group where I teach. Actually, what I do in that group, what I do is I share my own personal program, my personal training program. Okay. So I train in front of the camera and I share my 40 minutes program. It's a private Facebook group called ZenFit Works. And so that they can find me there, but they can also find me on Instagram. And it's Marco, my name, and underscore ZenFit.
ZenFit. Yeah. And I'll put all that information in the show notes, because I would love for people to jump on the Facebook crew. Let me ask you, is it anybody, men, women, age, doesn't matter?
Yes, it's for everyone, because
perfect.
Yeah, because what we do is we train for life, so we want, as we were talking, we want, if you want to go surfing one day, so you have some capabilities, some abilities, so then you can try out if you have never. But if you want to play soccer, then you can perhaps play soccer with your nephews or with your sons.
Yes.
Then someone tells you, let's do a 3 hours hike, and you can do it. Someone tells you, let's do a hour and a half yoga class. You can do it. So it's basically it's a program for life. It's for everything. So we, as I told you, we work out mobility, flexibility, strength, power, agility, to keep your body, doesn't matter your age, to keep your body young, basically.
Young. Yeah. And I will put all of that information in the show notes. Make sure you jump on the Facebook group or reach out to Marco on Instagram. But of course, I have one final question for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have transitioned into many different butterflies or moths, whatever you want to say. I think all of us have. And so my question to you is, how followers that are on their new path or their new journey to becoming a better version of themselves and transitioning into that better version, what piece of advice would you give them for them transforming into their own beautiful butterfly?
Wow. That's a good one, a difficult one, but a beautiful one.
Right.
And that is, believe in yourself. Believe in your power. Believe in your power, because we all humans, we have lost our connection with our power, and we as individuals are so powerful, and as a whole we are so powerful. So believe in your power, believe in yourself, and imagine yourself already doing what you want to do. For example, if you want to be an Ironman champion, and you just began to to your triathlon say journey, visualize yourself from day one as a champion doing the race, how it smells, how it feels, all the people around. Like visualize, imagine yourself and believing in your power, because you will do it. Because the only thing between you and your goals is is yourself, is your mind. There's nothing outside that can stop you. It's just you. If you believe you can do it, you can do it.
I love it. I love it. I think we have to end on that, because Marco, that was beautiful. I got goosies, as what we say in the States. So Marco, thank you so much for joining us on the Everyday Healthy Human podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you. And if y'all are loving the Everyday Healthy Human podcast, you know what to do. You know that you need to comment, you need to share, you need to like, you need to rate us, because that's only going to help us in the ratings to get out there to help others spread their wings and fly and start believing in themselves. So, Marco, I always say my ending is a combination of the Costa Rica lifestyle and my Texas lifestyle. So
right.
What I say is Pura Vida, y'all.
Pura Vida, y'all.
Pura Vida, y'all. Ciao.